I want to welcome everybody to the first post-race press conference of the 2024 season of Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship and the first round of the SMX World Championship. I also want to introduce our podium here for the 450 class, starting with first place, Jet Lawrence, second, Jason Anderson, and third place is Chase Sexton. Big round of applause for these warriors up here. I'm going to start off with a pretty softball question, Bud. I'm going to Jet Lawrence with this one. History was made tonight. You were the first one in the 50-year history of Supercross to win your first actual 450 Supercross race. I want you to talk a little about what that means to you and what it means to your brand, Honda and Red Bull as well.
Yeah, no, I found that out once I got up on the podium by Will, and it's a unreal thing to kind of grasp, really, just because you just think with how many years this sport's been around, you thought if someone has done it before, but it's cool. It's took that many years for someone to do it, and I'm definitely grateful, and I'm happy to do it for Honda and Red Bull. They've been behind me for a very long time now, so it's good to give back in that type of way and get up in the history books for them. So it's an awesome feeling, but no, it's a good start to the season. Hopefully we can just kind of keep either doing the same or just kind of keep maintaining and keep charging.
All right, let's open it up to the press right here. And, by the way, when you get the microphone, and even for online, I want you to say your name and the organization you're with.
Jamie Guida, Vital MX. Chase Sexton, this is for you. You were pretty open this last couple of weeks that you had some struggles a few weeks ago with the KTM. Got it better. After tonight, finally in race conditions, how do you feel about it? Where was it?
Yeah, it's been a different off season for me, switching bikes and getting to know something that's quite a bit different than what I was on before. So that takes a lot to get used to. And yes, we had our struggles, but the last week or so we've been moving in the right direction. And tonight, definitely, I feel like we're going in the right direction. So that's a positive. And I knew coming in that I was going to be maybe a little bit not where I want to be, but you know, I went out there and tried to salvage everything I could and try and get better. I think the last practice today, I kind of started to get into a flow, and then the heat race wasn't great, but the main event was okay. So, yeah, we want to keep building and just keep improving because it's a long season, but we definitely can't lollygag too much. We got to get clicking off some wins and battling up there with these two.
Mitch Kendra from Racer X. Jason, this one's for you. Obviously, a new bike and everything. You're on the same team, still kind of same program like that. And same program but new bike. Is it kind of a relief you had a good ride tonight? Like one, you kind of escaped the wildness that could come with A1, and then two, you look pretty comfortable on the bike, and like seems like everything's working out a little bit so far.
Yeah, obviously, you know, when you get a new platform, especially for us, you know, if there's something that we don't like or whatever and they give us what we want, we really want to perform on it. So it's a little nerve-wracking when you come into the first round with a new bike and everything like that. And especially with just all the work you do in the off-season. You know, the whole weekend itself is just a little bit of pressure on our shoulders. But, you know, it's a positive for me, you know, this weekend to be able to be second, have a good main event. Felt like at times in the main event I had some really good speed. And then, but at the same time it's 1 of 17. So I really, it's a positive, but we still got work to do.
Jonathan McCready, GetDrop.com for Jet. You said on the podium you were nervous today. Once you got into the lead, got the whole shot, were you still nervous, or did you just feel back to your normal flow, and were you managing Jason there, or was that you pretty 100%?
Yeah, it's kind of the nerves, obviously, after the first few corners went away a bit, because it's kind of, obviously, those first few turns are pretty hectic, but once I was able to see kind of clear track and know that Jason wasn't too close to make a pass, it was kind of, all right, let's get a gap. I think we got to like 3 seconds, and it was, all right, let's see, try and hold it here and just not make any silly mistakes and just be kind of conserve energy just in case at the end, because these guys are pretty fit, so they keep going to the whole motor. So it's kind of just not waiting, but like just storing energy for the last few laps. But I was able to have a big enough gap that I could just kind of cruise it in, thankfully.
David Pinger, Whiskey Throttle Medias for Chase. Just watching you yesterday versus today seemed like you made a lot of progress, just in comfort, and maybe that was just visually, but What were the changes that were made from yesterday to today that made that difference?
Yeah, they were pretty small changes. It's just, yeah, a couple weeks ago, if you would have seen me, you'd be like, this guy's not doing very good at A1. But I feel like the progress that we've made in the last couple weeks just getting me more comfortable. And I ride, obviously, a lot off field, which everyone does. But especially me, when I feel connected with the bike and the track, I can really go fast. And we're getting there. It's just taking some time. So the team's been awesome. They've thrown everything at it, and they worked their butts off. So it's cool to be a part of a program with those guys, and definitely want to keep continuing to grow and get better. Yeah, nothing specific. It was pretty small changes, but yeah, every day that I ride the bike, I seem to get a little bit more comfortable. So it's good.
Hey, Pete Peterson from Supercross Live. My question is for Jason. You had Cooper Webb on your tail most of the time. Were you having to ride defensive lines, and that prevent you from going after Jet early in the race?
To be honest, Cooper was pretty respectful until he tried to make that pass on the finish line. And I'm not saying it was bad or anything. It was just we got into that little battle, and I was on the inside, and I definitely didn't want him to pass me, So I think we kind of slowed our pace down, trying to have that battle for a second, and let Jet get that little 3-second gap, and but at the same time I kind of had a little bit of mistakes and stuff like that, and Cooper was able to get on me and be able to get close enough to make that pass. But I think me, Coop, and Jet for a good 15 minutes of that moto were pretty even, and it was tough. It was tough to make time. I'd make time in the whoops. I had a little bit of different line after than Jet, and then I would hear Cooper. And he's always revving it behind you whenever he's coming up on you. But, yeah, it was a good race. Bummer he went down, but he'll be back.
Michael Antonovich with Swap Moto Live. This is for Jet. In the last couple of weeks, there's been talk about a comment you made about 72 wins. And I know some people in high places were like, well, he needs to get one first. Do you have anything to say about that? Now that you have one, does your thoughts on it change?
And no, like, in all seriousness about that, I mean, it's just it probably might not get done. I mean, it's a lot of race wins, but I just, I'm coming in, you got to set such a high goal for yourself that's going to make you go a little crazy for it and make sure you work hard. So it's not meaning really kind of I'm going to do it. It's more of just like I want to have myself a goal, because if I didn't have a goal, then I'd just be happy to be here and just race around whatever position I wanted to. So it was... No, it doesn't really change anything, really. I mean, the people who can say what they say doesn't really affect me, really. We see where we are now. So, I mean, yeah, it was just more of a kind of setting a goal for myself, just to make me make sure I wake up every day and have that on my mind, to make me go push that little bit extra, have that self-motivation for myself. And it's so far it's paid off. We'll see. These guys are really, really good. So it could be the complete opposite next week, and I could suck. So don't know.
Jace from Gypsy Tales. So last year, obviously, like 2022 was pretty epic. 2023, some struggles. And I get the feeling that when you're in the season, you don't exactly want to make excuses when things aren't going well. Tonight, you looked epic. That looked as 2022 as it gets. Can you talk about any of the struggles a little bit more openly now you've got the podium in this first race and look so good? You had a kid, you got married, like you guys are human too. So I guess can you speak on some of the struggles now a little bit more openly?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we tried to improve our bike last year, and we ended up going a little bit in the wrong direction, and that just sent the momentum downhill, And then luckily enough, the team and I, they've really helped me and worked together to obviously improve as much as we can, but it was an uphill battle, and personally too, whenever the momentum starts going downhill, and then, my wife is pregnant with my first daughter, it's tough. You go to the practice track, and I don't want to get hurt or anything like that, because I don't want to stress her out or anything. So I guess for me, family was in my head more coming first than anything else. But at the end of the day, Cowie is behind me. They pay me to do a job, and I'm happy that I'm able to rebound and be in the form that I am right now. So I'm hoping to keep it going. Like I said, this is 1 of 17, but let's go.
Thanks, mate. And Chase, I haven't got to ask you this. It's probably a question from last season, but there are a couple times on the broadcast where even me as a fan, I was like, oh, like that seems like a lot. And I guess, do you have any thoughts on like where the line is maybe there? Like, how did you take some of those comments last year? And I guess, did you keep those receipts maybe going forward into this year?
Yeah, definitely have the receipts in the bag. Just gotta pull them out here in the season. So no, I mean, I'm a pretty like fiery person, you could say. So that stuff does fire me up, but it's not a negative thing for me. It honestly makes me better. And yeah, they can keep talking, and I'll try and go out there and do my best and use it as fire.
See these guns? He just goes and lifts like 600 pounds during the week. And, okay, we're good to go now.
Well, as always, boys, you savages. And Jet, just for you, for math's sake, that's now 71 to go. So if you got like a cross pad or anything, it's 71 left to go.
Just a tie. Yeah.
You can't count very well.
Yeah, I can't.
We'll see how he does.
I can't count that high. This got told 7-2 is his record. So
yeah,
once we get the 2 digits, I'm done. I'm gonna have to keep someone going, keep count, keep tallies.
Hey, Alex Gober at MotoOnline.com. For Chase, obviously a podium result on debut at Red Bull KTM at Anaheim 1 is always a solid start to the season. How important is it going to be for you to try and make sure that Jet doesn't get any real early season momentum? How important is it for you to try and get on top as early as possible with this new team?
It's definitely important, and I come out here to win and be up front. So not only Jet, but everybody else, I got to go out there and race as hard as I can and try and win. But yeah, I'm happy to be on the podium. It wasn't, like I said, my best riding, but it's a long season, and like last year shows, is you got to be there for every race. And yeah, I feel like my consistency is better this year. I just got to get a little bit more speed, which I had really good speed last year, and now we get that back, and we'll be in a good spot.
Hey guys, Josh Mosman, Motocross Action. Jason, new trainer this year, Alex Martin, Troll Training, and John Westling. I don't know if that's been brought up yet. I just walked in here, but congratulations, man. Awesome ride, running up front. Fitness looks great. Can you talk a little bit about the new program you got going on?
Yeah, it was kind of a last-minute deal, and luckily John lives right down the road. So between me, John, Brock, we work together every single day. We're together every day. And then obviously you got Alex. He's in Minnesota, so he's definitely, they've got knowledge, and for me, I think I needed a little bit of change in the way I formatted my program, and between my riding with Brock and my training with John, I think change is good, just honestly different pace of life for me, and I think it's worked out, but we still got more to go. So I'm thankful for them, and I was pumped to be able to give Troll Training their first podium.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports for Jet. I know you want to win every race that you're in, but is it possible that sometimes you learn more running second? And if so, did you learn anything in that heat running behind Webb?
I learned my suspension's way too stiff, like that. Yeah, I mean, I think like the saying, you learn your most stuff on the days the days you lose, really. So we're obviously going to try and win as much as we can, but yeah, it's a lot harder to win every single round of Supercross. So there's a reason why it hasn't been done yet. So we're just going to make sure we come in each weekend, just keep on gathering information for myself, learning off other riders, learning how they race, and just dealing with whatever situation I'm kind of dealt with. I mean, if third place is a third place for that night, it's that. If it's a fourth, it's a fourth. So I think that's a big thing of learning and adapting with the situations you're in, and even if the bike's off, kind of knowing that. I think in that heat race, I kept kind of pushing a little bit just because I was already a little uncomfortable with the suspension, but I kept trying to make it work a bit, and wasn't quite it, and ended up making a silly mistake, but wasn't nothing too crazy. So, but definitely excited to learn more throughout this season.
Scott Yarjo, Moto Now blog. Chase, this question's for you. New bike, new team, first race. You mentioned yesterday, today was about learning. So how close were you setup-wise entering today? And specifically, what is the biggest thing you took away from it and learned?
Yeah, it's definitely about learning. I like I said, I've been on Honda since I was turned pro, so this is a big change. And going from aluminum frame to steel frame is about as big as you can get. So for me, I just had to learn how the bike reacts, and yeah, we're definitely moving in the right direction. I think in the main event we're somewhat close, but we still have some room to grow, and I got tight. So that normally doesn't happen, and we got to fix that. So other than that, yeah, we're really focusing on the front of the bike right now. The rear's really good. Just got to fix the front end.
You started up front right with him, and then you kind of like seemed to lose the pace. What was going on in your mind like after you kind of got gapped a bit?
I had a really sketchy moment. I was right behind Cooper, or not right behind, but I was in the hunt, and I went inside after the whoops and went onto the jump, and then I went off, and I get there was a big old kicker that I didn't see because I was normally going outside, and almost endoed and went bobblehead through the rest of the section. I could not see anything for probably a lap. My sweat was everywhere, and I lost the train after that, and it was pretty much me by myself. So thankful that I saved that, and yeah, that's why we're here.
Ryan Nitzen with Cycle News. My question's for Jet. You rode a pretty perfect race, it looked like, from the stands, but there was one moment in the sand section, kind of the last few laps. Can you talk about that? What happened?
Yeah, we got a little haywire there. No, we just slightly clipped that top of that and was a little off balance, but no, all good. A little regroup, get back, double, triple, same stuff.
I thought you stalled it. That's what I was asking. But can you touch on the differences of racing? Obviously, they're saying you're a 450 rookie, but you race the outdoors and the super motocross rounds. Can you touch on the differences in the way the track breaks down later in the race of the longer main event versus the light spikes?
I mean, it's been quite a while, so it's since Supercross last year, dealing with on 250. So, I know, kind of. I haven't took too much away from it, but no, you just kind of have to go with how the track's kind of breaking and that stuff, and just learning when to push and when not to push, and what lines to change, and kind of going from skimming to jumping. In 250, we didn't have that a lot. We were kind of skimming still for most of the main events. So it's yeah, good learning, good track, fun.
Cool, thanks.
This is, I guess, two parts. First part for Ando, second part for Jet. Now, this is just a rumor I heard, so I don't know if it's true, but I heard that there's potential that you had some designer fashion kind of brand interested in working with you this year. Whether that's true or not, it really does seem like Supercross is kind of we're really Jet with the antisocial stuff last year. There's different collabs that are going on. As a rider right now, you've been at this a long time, does this feel like the sport's kind of really getting to open up? You've got guys like yourself, Jet with the fan zone today. How do you feel now with the landscape and where Supercross can go over these next few years?
Yeah, I think that our stuff is getting more mainstream. I think we're getting opportunities that are bigger, and for me, I got homies that do some cool stuff, so yeah, I'm trying to hop on that wave, and it's stuff that I'm interested in generally just for me and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully we'll have something coming soon, but it'll be quite different, and it's tough because our motocross demographic is very race results, win, that type of monetization for all the brands. So when you bring in something like this, sometimes it's not taken, I guess, as what people think. They'll think that you're not paying attention or something like that. If you're somewhere else, not at the test track, it's a little off. So it's kind of tough to sell it for our sport right now. But I think you look at all the other sports that are really big, like F1, anything that's on Netflix, is popping off right now. Even the other day I was watching cycling, and I didn't even know that Palace had a whole team, and their kits and stuff are so sick. So for me, I think that's something that would help grow our sport, and we could monetize off teams even without results, just off looking cool. So hopefully I could pull some stuff off like that. But at the end of the day, I still got to stay on the podium to, keep me happy and keep everyone else happy.
And then Jet, with the fan zone, you guys are trying to bring your own flavor to this as well. So maybe your thoughts on the same type of deal?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to what Anderson said. It's just kind of getting more mainstream and kind of getting it. I mean, just closer to F1. Really, I mean, it's probably the pinnacle of motorsports, really, and trying to get it higher up there, and that stuff's it helps a lot. And having the fans kind of get more close up, more interaction with Hunter and I. You don't really get that too much in F1. I feel like in other sports, just because you're normally so far away from the paddock, where here you get up a lot closer and kind of get more of a personal touch with the fan zone. And for me, it's always cool meeting new faces, and who knows, you could get a new opportunity out of them, of a kind of guy could own a car brand or a clothing company. So you never know what can happen in those situations. So it definitely helps us get more opportunities of making the sport bigger, and I think it's going in the right direction so far. Thankfully.
All right, let's go to some of our virtual press over here. Nick Steele, Moto Online.
Yeah, thank you. Nick Steele, MotoOnline.com. This will be for Jet. Jet, many of the media pieces you did for Feld Entertainment spoke about racing Eli, becoming one of these guys. Here you are on the podium. You've beat arguably, the greatest field we've had in a very, very long time. Does that set in now, or is it like a season thing for you? You want to go out and do this every single round?
It's a season thing for me. I mean, you look at last year. I mean, Eli's had a few bad rounds where he's got a 7th or a 5th or a 4th. So, but then next round he comes back and has won it. So I mean, it's that Eli Jet battle definitely comes soon. He's a 2-time SX champion for a reason. So I'm looking forward to it. But then again, also we have how many other guys? We have Cooper out there. We got these dudes. So I mean, it's a stacked field. It's definitely cool to get a win off. But it's more of a season thing for me, just to try and get the championship at the end of the day.
Do you know what plate you will use next week? Obviously a red-coloured background, or are we sticking with this colour? What's that look like for you? Do you know?
It's going to be a red plate with the same number colour. So the number's going to be the same colour as it is now, just the background changes to red.
I like it. Congratulations, mate. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Brad from Verb Moto.
Thanks. This one's for Jason. Jace, what changes did you make today, if any?
Yeah, obviously I stuck with my same general setup. And realistically, I only moved sag, one clicker. It just really worked just within my setup that I have right now. I felt like the track was a little bit rougher than I expected, just a little bit faster. We were on the inside a lot of places where you're hitting just ruts. It's not like all bull corners. And so, it was basically what I showed up with.
With Anaheim being as slippery as it is there a specific setting that you guys set up for that, knowing that that's sort of the lay of the land for Anaheim?
Honestly, it wasn't that slick tonight. I think obviously when we reuse the dirt for Anaheim too, I think it's going to be a little slippery, more slippery than it was tonight. And I think we got lucky with. I feel like the last 3 Anaheims have been really ruddy. Really ruddy, kind of sketchy. Last year was pretty rutted, and I feel like for the first Anaheim, it was pretty perfect.
All right, thanks, bud.
Mm-hmm, thanks.
All right, Dave, you want to finish it up with us? Last question here.
Sure, yeah. You hear me? Oh. David Pingree, Whiskey Throttle Media. I got a little 2-banger here. First one's for all of you. I saw something in open ceremonies tonight where they brought the lights down right before the main event. I'd never really seen that before, and then they popped back on, and it was really quick when they, put the 30 card up. Did that affect you guys' eyes at all?
No, I was confused when they said pyro show. I thought I heard Pablo. I'm like, what Pablo show we getting? I was confused more with that. I didn't know what the hell a pyro show was.
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird because the dude told us to start our bikes and the lights were off. And he was like, start your bikes. So it was It was different, that's for sure. But it's not, once it's like game time, it's not that bad.
Focused in.
Yeah, you're locked in.
I had no idea. The guy came by the starting line, like, he's like, they're going to shut the lights off. I'm like, well, I've never, is this something new? I've never heard that. That's the first time I heard was on the starting line, they're going to shut the lights off. I'm like, well, all right, I guess it's fine. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
Second parter, we were introduced to the first one-piece motocross get-up this week. And I want to know how disappointed you're going to be, Jason, if we end up going to that in the future and your jersey can't flap.
I know my signature's gone. But, yeah, to be honest, it was, yeah. I was more like, how do you, like, what if you're on the bathroom and you have to go use the bathroom?
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah. It's got a flap. I was gonna say, like the baby ones where you pull like the thing down. So I don't know. It was different. It was cool though.
All right, hey, let's end on that note. One more round of applause for Jet Lawrence, Jason Anderson, and Chase Sexton. Thanks, guys. That was awesome. Good run. So RJ got first. Jordan Smith second, Levi third. Cool. All right, let's get our 250 podium up here to the front of the room, get them set up, make their way on up. As you guys come in, leave a little bit of room. RJ coming in. I think we're looking for Levi, right? Is Levi in already? Here he is. Right here, bud. Let's get started with the 250 podium. This is RJ Hampshire, Jordan Smith, and Levi Kitchen. Big round of applause. Some epic battles in the 250 main tonight. Before we get to our press out here, RJ Hampshire, this time a big trophy for your daughter. I know she likes the big ones. 58 starts, your third win. How sweet to bring home this win for your team.
So awesome. A lot of ups and downs in my career, and just being able to show up to a race and being confident and taking what the night gave me. Of course I felt like I could win, but wasn't going to pressure it. Had my spots tonight that were really good. Just super stoked to have a red plate under the Husky rig. That's huge for myself, for the team. Goes to show, massive props to that whole Austrian group because we have a awesome bike this year.
All right, let's open it up.
Jamie, Vital MX. Levi, I want to go to you first. You and your teammate Max had a nice little battle there in the heat rate or in the main event. Maybe even slowed you down a little bit. Did you guys talk about that? Because I feel like you might have had a little bit more had you guys just been able to roll along.
No, I haven't talked to him yet, but I wasn't. We for sure slowed down. And I didn't realize at the end Joe was pretty close. But yeah, it is what it is. He got Julian in the same spot, I think, pretty good. So we're all racing for position, we're racing for money, so I don't care honestly.
Mitch Kendra, Racer X. RJ, talk a little bit about obviously having the red plate and everything. You're a veteran of the sport. Just talk about how your career has gone and kind of how you got to this point. And, there's been injuries and mid-season injuries. We had the COVID year. Just talk about everything you had to go to get to this point to have the red plate for next weekend.
We'd be here all night if I had to explain it all. Just ride the waves, really. I mean, Smitty knows exactly how it is also. Like, we've been through it. So it's cool to be up here, even with him. Like, man, it's this sport's tough. And, man, there's a lot of people that, you know, probably wouldn't be in this situation if they've gone through what we've gone through. Man, just... like I said, a lot of obstacles, a lot of ups and downs. And one thing I've always done is believed in myself, and that's kind of why I'm in this position I am right now. Always knew he was capable of it. Man, just stay level-headed, really. And like I said, ride the waves and enjoy the highs and try to get out of lows as fast as possible.
Scott Yarja, Moto Now blog. This question's for Levi. It was a little chaotic at the end with the Red Cross in that big rhythm. You passed Max there, and I think Shimoda also passed Max there. As a rider, like, how do you know, like, is that going through your mind, like when to jump and like jumping and passing there? And were you thinking about that afterwards, if like the AMA would be questioning that pass?
I mean, I knew Max would be probably pretty pissed about it, but I've been racing for long enough now. Once you're past the guy who's on the ground, you're all good. So. Even it was kind of weird. The Red Cross was like not on the first jump either. So the first time I think I 3'd in and there was no Red Cross, and then it's like they started it. It was a weird deal. You had people rolling the whole thing, thinking they had to. Max, he just happened to roll too much. So yeah, it was a kind of a greasy move of me, but I mean, it is what it is.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports, for RJ. In the preseason media sessions, I think we talked a little bit about how the 250 class is just a hard reset this season. And now you've got the early momentum. Do you feel that? Do you feel like it was really important to establish yourself on the podium and get this win?
Not at all, because I know how fast it can change and how up and down it is. So, yeah, just go the same plan this week. You know, same plan we had all season long, or all off season. Stay level-headed and take next weekend as same as we took this weekend. Stay in the fight, give myself a chance. The wins there, awesome. If it's not, take what the night gives me. And that's, yeah, I'm getting up there in age, so I've kind of learned that in times. Learned it the hard way. So, yeah, man, just try to enjoy this. Especially enjoy Anaheim 1 victory, which was massive. Actually, I just found out this weekend that our team manager has 2 Anaheim 1 wins, and I feel bad because I thought Nate's only had 1 win his whole career, and then I find out he's had about 14. So, man, it's just funny. It's cool to have a A1 win back under the Husqvarna tent.
Levi, Jace from Gypsy Tales. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you had the option to stay with Star, chose to go with Pro Circuit, and you might be one of the first guys ever that's willingly left that program. You know, it seems like that's kind of the one that everyone wants to be at, and every amateur kid is trying to get there now. But you've chosen to go a different direction by going to PC. Paid off tonight, obviously, with the podium, but what was the thought process there, and what were you thinking that you could potentially gain by moving teams?
Yeah, there was a lot to it, honestly, probably more than I could fit in, but just the big thing was I think I needed a little bit of a change, and kind of wanted to go back to some of the things I did before I got on the team, and that was just kind of almost work a little bit more alone and just be around, you know, some different people and have a little bit of freedom. So Mitch was more than willing to do that for me, and, you know, he's letting me still be in Florida, and I'm over at Sandbox, obviously. I got a good group of guys around me. So, yeah, I just need a little bit of a change, and I think I'm a little bit, you know, happier. I'm kind of enjoying it a little bit more. You always still have to put the work in, but, yeah, I have a smile on my face every day now.
Did it feel like more, I guess, almost like a football team in a sense? Like everyone goes there, they've like the motos start at a certain time. It's like scrimmage. Is that kind of almost the way that team is like building itself in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think a lot of teams, you know, maybe even RJ at Alden's is similar to that, but and I still do that. Obviously, like me, Ken, Chase, and Tom will do motos like that, but there was just a couple of things I wanted to work on personally, and yeah, that's kind of why I changed a little bit. I wanted to have, every once in a while, if I wanted to take a day and really work on something for myself, then I could do that. So, yeah, just the freedom side.
Cheers, mate.
Ryan with Cycle News. Kind of building off Jason's question for Levi. Normally when a rider switches teams, we find them riding the East Coast, give them more time to prep with the new bike. And then with your guys' squad, you have you and Max are new guys to the Pro Circuit team and on West Coast. Can you kind of take me through the decision to go West Coast, if it was yours, and kind of the prep with that new bike for you?
It wasn't my decision. I actually was kind of maybe leaning towards East, and then Cameron unfortunately had a little crash. So, but overall, like as far as the bike goes, it wasn't really hard to get used to or anything. I definitely learned a lot going to Florida on it and stuff, and I think I made a few changes that might have hurt me tonight. It's hard to replicate the way the track breaks down. So by that main event, the bike handled a little bit different than in practice. So, but overall, like as far as bike setup and everything goes, it was pretty easy, and I felt, I still feel ready to be here. Like I'm good.
Jason from Racer X and NBC. First, for Levi, do you feel that was even close to your best, or is there a lot more under the hood once you get a race under your belt?
No, I think I got more in me for sure, but tonight was still positive, qualifying and all that, and then to kind of get it back together after that heat race incident. And so, yeah, I just early on I panicked pretty bad in that main, and these guys were riding really good too. They blew by me, so I had to regroup, which was a positive for me also. But like RJ said, there's ups and downs, and it's a long season. So to get out of here healthy with a podium, I can't complain.
And for you, Jordan, I feel like you've primarily raced East most years. So how many times have you raced West, and what was it like to do the Anaheim 1 thing?
Yeah, I raced one time in 2016. A1, I was in podium position to like 5 to go, and I fell. So, no, it was good. Always, I feel like more nerves coming to A1 than it is even the first round of East Coast. Like, you're obviously nervous either way, but it's even more here. But it was good. Got good starts and rode good and made some good changes on the bike throughout the day. So really can't complain with how it went.
Michael Antonovich with Swap Moto Live. Jordan and then RJ, if you guys can both answer this. Jordan first. You guys have been racing each other forever. I can think of going back to Milestone when Mike LaRocco was your team manager and you guys are doing scrimmages. Looking at that heat race, how is it to battle with a guy that you know really well, you've raced against for 7, 8, 10 years at this point? How is it in that mindset? He's probably not going to do something sketchy, but he's going to go for it just as bad as you are.
I mean, if you think we are still sketchy, you should have seen us on those scrimmage days in 2015.
I don't know how we still here right now.
But no, it's good. I mean, yeah, you know what you're going to get with him. He's going to be fast every night. He's going to do the big lines. He's going to get good starts. He's going to put himself in good position. So, you just have to try and be better. And tonight he rode really good. We actually got tangled up. Him and I did in the second turn, and almost both got stuck and had to untangle our bikes. But he made some really good passes in the beginning and just kind of checked out. So, maybe have to work on a little bit of intensity to match his those first few laps.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, we have the same respect for each other, and it shows out there on the racetrack. Like, you're going to get your best from both of us. I told him before the main event, I was like, man, I hate racing you. I literally told him that, because it's like, man, we're both going to try to kill ourselves just to try to win. Like, it doesn't matter. And yeah, we had a good battle there in the heat race, and I knew I had to make it kind of happen quick there in that main event to try to get away. It's cool though that we're battling for wins at Anaheim 1, where 8 years ago we were on the same team, came in as rookies, and both had our struggles and kind of came through.
Battling to not be the slowest guy to track that day.
Yeah. We made it through the whoops on the gnarliest days, which was a surprise.
That's cool. Guys, Josh Mosman here, MXA. Stoked for all three of you guys to be on the podium. I'm genuinely happy for all of you guys. Pretty cool to see you guys up there. This question, though, for Jordan. The talk is always the Star Racing Yamaha 250F. Everybody knows that it's fast. And you guys have a new bike this year. And from the outside looking in, just from the stands, everybody was wide open and giving it everything they had. And it seemed like you could hold a little bit smoother around the track. You weren't having to wring the bike out for every little ounce of power. It seemed like you just had an extra edge on everybody in the power department. It's not a new topic, but you do have a new bike. So talk about just how that bike adapts to race conditions.
Yeah, the new bike is really good. It's mainly chassis differences. I think that the engine's actually, the exact same. Maybe some small changes, but yeah, power-wise, we're pretty close to that. There's obviously, we make little improvements every year, but yeah, Brad and Trevor and Georgie, those guys on the motor side, they got it dialed in, and the bikes are really good. So the new bike overall was good. It passed the eye test today. I think we definitely were making some changes. We did a lot of testing. Going into last year, I really didn't do a whole lot of testing. Like the bike was already so solid. They knew the base platform, and it's kind of where we were. But this year we had a lot more testing to do, with it being a new chassis and all that stuff. So it was good to come here and get that first race out of the way, and it handled good.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. No major changes to the engine. Airbox just slightly changed, but all that can be fixed. So just the chassis. But RJ, how cool did it feel jumping across the finish line, looking over and seeing Bomber still in second place and you pulling a big gap pretty early? How good did that feel, just to see that you had a gap pretty quickly on the field?
Yeah, it was awesome. I had my strong points tonight. I was really fast in the whoops, which I haven't said in years. So I was stoked on that. And I just focused on that. Get to the whoops, pull a gap, and then manage the rest of the race. Once I see my pit board at +9, I was like, dang, man, this is getting real here. We about to win A1. I don't know if you see my last lap through the whoops, but I'm pretty sure I rolled every single one of them. But yeah, it was awesome just to have that speed and the confidence in my motorcycle to go out there and do what I did tonight.
Cool. Congrats, guys.
All right, let's go virtual here. Brock Bridges, do you have a question?
Yeah, absolutely. RJ, you get the win for Husky. You've been carrying the weight for that team, 250 and 450, really win-wise, since 2020 when Zacho won in Salt Lake City. So, definitely, doing a lot for that brand, and I'm sure that means a lot to you. And now you're in a position where you feel like you could probably reel off multiple wins here for the first time in about 8 years for Husqvarna for either side, 250 or 450. I'm sure that means a lot to you and the team.
Yeah, it's awesome. Truthfully, we have the best group of guys that I've worked with since I came here in 2020. Even Malcolm on the 450 side has just been awesome. You guys don't see behind the windows or what goes on behind doors. But yeah, man, it's special, and everybody that was pretty much here whenever I first signed with Husqvarna is gone. There's maybe, I honestly don't think there's one person here with that, or there is one person, that's Murph, and he's kind of kept us all together. But man, the staff that we have and the personnel and the belief that we all have in each other is special, and man, that goes far. It goes a long way. It shows, whenever we show up on the weekends, and you come over to the Husqvarna pit, you'll see a bunch of smiles on our faces. We enjoy what we do. We love our group, and yeah, man, just excited for this 24 year.
And tough luck on the 450 side, but I know Mookie and Christian Craig, they'll be working hard to get up there with you for sure. Jordan, 20th podium, man. You're really killing it in your career. You might not realize it has kind of been around for a while. You're tied, you tied with Eli Tomac and Mike LaRocco in all-time podiums. So there's some names for you. Or excuse me, Mike Brown and Eli Tomac. So there's some names for you there. And that puts you in 15th all-time. There's only 14 guys ever in the history of the sport in the 250 class. Does it feel like that? Do you feel like a young buck? I mean, you're one of the Ironmen of this class.
Yeah, we've been in it a long time. But to be honest with you, no, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like I've had two different careers, to be honest with you. I've said it a couple times, but it feels like I've had a career from 2015 to 2019, and then it feels like I took 3 years off and started back again in 2022. So, yeah, it's kind of just like from 2022, kind of built that year on the Firepower team, and then got the ride with Star and got some podiums last year, and had a good year, but just not quite on that level. And I feel like I've taken the next step now, and it felt good tonight to be up there, and like I said, it doesn't feel like that because I feel like I've had 2 careers is what it feels like.
All right, let's go to Brad from Verb Moto.
Thanks. Yeah, it's Brad from Verb Moto. This one's for RJ. RJ, you seem to ride with a lot more maturity. I don't know if that's something specifically you've been working on in the off season, or just the fact that old Rick might be actually getting old.
I'm definitely getting old, but I had that maturity last year. I was just racing a dude that was really, really good and crushed me every weekend. I don't maybe take the risks I would have taken whenever I was, 20 and fresh. Injuries hurt a little bit more these days. But hey, listen, I'm going to do whatever I can to give myself the best position on the weekends and the main events. Big thing for myself is just giving me a chance, have the opportunity to put in a good result on the weekends.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Nick Still, Moto Online.
Yeah, thank you, Nick Still, Moto Online. This will be for Levi. Bit of a follow-up question for you. Is it a sense of relief to start your Pro Circuit Kawasaki campaign like this? And then secondly, this is the first time you've had to change manufacturers in your career. What's that been like? What are the biggest changes that, you sort of had to overcome? And a couple of weeks ago, how do you feel coming into Anaheim on?
I don't know if I'd say it's a relief. I mean, maybe a little bit, but, that would kind of show that I wasn't confident I could do this. So, I'm pretty happy with how the night went, obviously. And then to, your second question, I don't think it was that hard of a switch, like, going from the Yamaha to the Kawasaki. It's kind of a similar bike, believe it or not. Just with the aluminum frame and everything, it really didn't feel too much different. Maybe the Kawasaki's just a little bit skinnier, and I think in the corners it feels a little bit different. But other than that, it's honestly pretty similar, and the power's really good. They found quite a bit of horsepower out of the thing. So overall, it wasn't too big of a change. And I think I only honestly rode probably just over 8 weeks before. So in those 8 weeks, I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot with where the bike's at, and I think there's still a lot more for me to learn, though.
Awesome, thank you. Congratulations, gentlemen, to the 3 of you. Awesome result.
And Pete Peterson, Supercross Live. My question's for Jordan. You got into second place, about 5 minutes left in the race. How beat up was the track? How comfortable were you feeling on your setup? And were you going to go for the lead at that point, or just stay in second and settle for that?
Yeah, RJ had a pretty big lead by the time I got to second, so there wasn't a whole lot of separator on the track tonight. It was tough to get that long rhythm, and but I was just mainly wasn't really focused on trying to go for the win or anything like that. I was just focused on putting my laps in, just trying to stay focused in the whoops. They were not hard tonight, but they got tricky in the main event. They were pretty tore up. So and then with the red cross flag coming out, it kind of just it was hard to keep pushing. I think we all slowed down quite a bit. Like if you go back and look at our segment times of that, the whole track slowed down quite a bit once the red cross flag came out, because it was hard to get that intensity back going after you had to roll the really the only big rhythm section on the track. So I was pretty happy with where I was at. Just needed to make some passes a little earlier, a little quicker to have a shot at pushing RJ. But overall, it's good.
Jamie, Vital MX. Jordan, the new bike was mentioned, and you could test during the off season, but nothing compares to what you're going to learn on race night. Was there anything that you felt you learned that you will want to change, you want to work on, whether it be entry to the whoop speed or cornering, anything that you want to change on the bike to improve it?
Yeah, my bike was pretty good today. In press day yesterday, I felt very uncomfortable. I didn't feel good at all. Had a couple actually close moments on a triple N that was pretty steep, and they had brought a setting to me a few weeks ago that they felt like was going to be better for me. I didn't like it at the practice track.
Suspension setting?
Suspension setting, yeah. And I didn't like it at the practice track. I rode it for maybe 3-4 days, almost a week, and I just didn't feel comfortable on it. Went back to my other stuff and felt really good right away. And so that's what I was on, but we changed back to it after press day. Just like you said, you can't replicate the racetracks. They're so steep. The way that they are built, it's completely different. And just, you can have them built by the Dirtworks guys, but in 2 days, they're way more mellow. A couple rains, the middles get washed in and filled in. So, I think that we can kind of, now knowing how the other setting felt here, we can go home and kind of build off of that and kind of fine-tune that setting for me at home and see if we can get it maybe even a little bit better for San Fran. But overall, it was good.
Mitch Kendra from Racer X. Jordan, you guys talked about you and RJ racing each other and you're kind of veterans of the sport. Just talk about, you mentioned the 3 years you kind of felt like you took off. Obviously, you've been in this situation before you started series on the podium and been in the championship fight. You had the wrist injury, like you said, in 2019, and just some stuff that's come up. What have you learned throughout those years, like mentally and about your body, physically, and just about how it goes, and not to take it for granted even when you get a podium, but to keep looking higher and keep. Obviously, you want to be in the championship fight to the end. So just talk about the experience of being there and taken from those years that didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's being in 2019, my wrist injury, I wasn't really even sure if I was going to be able to come back from it. We couldn't figure out what was wrong with my wrist. There was nothing broken. There was nothing torn. Like, we couldn't figure out why it hurt so bad, but I couldn't do anything. And then an ACL in 2020 and a shoulder in 21, and, those are pretty big injuries as well. So, it was, learning from those years, some of the crashes were my fault, some of them weren't, but, in a roundabout way they were. You have to put yourself in good positions. You have to, be smart those first couple laps because people are going to be going everywhere. And, I think, as you get older, from all the other injuries, your body hurts, so you don't want to hit the ground anymore. So you figure out a way not to. But it's, definitely have the experience and can't say I'm learning anymore. I gotta execute.
And then one last one, obviously with your family, just talk a bit about that and how that has changed your perspective and just, kind of helped you, I guess, mentally a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's awesome having my wife and my little girl here. It's, having her around, it makes the good times better and it makes the bad times not as bad. So it's cool coming back to the truck, whether you do good or do bad, and she'll put a smile on your face. And it's a cool feeling having her here and how much she's grown up from last year. And she recognized me on the podium tonight whenever Katie brought her down there. So that's cool and a special moment for sure.
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Let's hear it for RJ Hampshire, Jordan Smith, and Levi Kitchen. 250 podium. Thanks again, Press, for showing up. Let's do this again next week in San Francisco.